I'm a narcissist. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. Original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
Every now and then, a movie comes along that doesn't just get released. It becomes a magnet for nearly every hot-button issue in Hollywood, sparking intense debates that set the industry ablaze. Whether it's the fierce struggle for greater inclusivity or the deep concern over preserving the magic of cherished classics, these rare moments cause waves like nothing else. Disney's live-action remake of Snow White? It's turned into just that kind of explosive spectacle, igniting conversations from all directions and captivating audiences everywhere. And at the center of this storm, Rachel Zegler. What initially seemed like an exciting and groundbreaking casting choice for the role has now exploded into a full-blown controversy that some are calling a nightmare for Disney. The buzz surrounding this remake has reached a fever pitch, with every move under intense scrutiny, leaving Disney to wonder if they've bitten off more than they can chew. When Disney made the bold and seemingly revolutionary decision to cast Rachel Zegler as the new Snow White, they knew they were stirring the pot. And they were right. This wasn't just casting news. This was the kind of move that would make waves across the industry. For many, Rachel's casting represented a step forward in the fight for diversity, signaling that Disney was no longer afraid to shake things up and modernize its approach. It was seen as proof that the studio was ready to leave outdated norms behind and embrace the future. But, of course, not everyone shared that excitement. For some, the decision to cast Rachel raised serious doubts, questioning whether Disney was playing it too risky with such an iconic and beloved character. Rachel had already dazzled audiences with her performance in West Side Story, earning rave reviews and setting a high bar for her next big role. But it wasn't just her acting that grabbed all the attention. No, it was her outspoken, often controversial comments off-screen that quickly took the spotlight, transforming her from a promising star into a figure who divided opinions and sparked heated debates everywhere. Rachel Zegler's rise from relative newcomer to Hollywood sensation has been anything but a smooth, predictable journey. Instead, it's been filled with controversy and drama that have kept her in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Her fiery, unapologetic personality has lit up social media, but not always in the ways Disney envisioned or hoped for. Time and time again, her blunt comments triggered massive, heated reactions, sparking confrontations online that rippled through Disney's loyal fan base like a tidal wave. Some of her remarks were bold and boundary-pushing. Others crossed over into territory that some would consider outright controversial. One unforgettable moment in her career saw Rachel making a brash statement that anyone who didn't support a particular political figure should stop following her. That statement hit like a bombshell, instantly splitting opinions down the middle. For a company like Disney, which has spent decades building a reputation based on family-friendly, polished, and carefully curated images, this was a storm they didn't want to weather. How could Disney possibly reconcile such a bold, divisive statement with the magic and innocence fans have come to expect from the iconic House of Mouse? It seemed like every single word that Rachel Zegler said became the spark for another firestorm of outrage. Fans were quick to jump into the debate, dissecting her every comment with laser-sharp scrutiny. One of the most controversial moments came when Rachel openly criticized the original Snow White, calling the timeless animated classic outdated and revealing she'd only watched it once as a child. For Disney fans who held the 1937 masterpiece close to their hearts, this felt like a direct slap in the face to the legacy of a film that had captivated generations and become a cornerstone of cinema history. It was as if Rachel, in her candidness, was rejecting everything that made Snow White the iconic story it is. The more she spoke, the more it seemed like she was distancing herself from the very magic that made this fairy tale a household name. And of course, Disney fans weren't shy about voicing their fierce disapproval. Rachel's comments about adding a strong emphasis on independence and empowerment in the live-action Snow White did more than just ruffle feathers. It caused an all-out uproar. On one side of the debate, there were fans celebrating what they saw as a progressive and much-needed twist, eager to see a classic story updated for modern sensibilities and liberated from its outdated gender stereotypes. For them, this new take on Snow White was a breath of fresh air, a long overdue change to a tale that had long been criticized for its portrayal of passive female characters. But for many others, this shift felt like nothing short of betrayal. To them, it seemed as if Disney was dismantling the very essence of what made Snow White so special, erasing the romantic elements that had given the original story its heart and soul. The controversy escalated to a boiling point when early previews began to suggest that the Seven Dwarfs were being reimagined in drastic ways, sparking a firestorm of outrage that rocked the fanbase to its core. It wasn't just about Rachel's comments anymore. It had become a full-scale debate about the future of an iconic tale, with many feeling that Disney had gone too far in its attempt to modernize the story. Disney's decision to reimagine the Seven Dwarfs as diverse magical beings quickly turned into an explosive issue, becoming a lightning rod for criticism from all sides. The change, which was likely intended to be an inclusive move by the studio, backfired in ways Disney didn't anticipate, particularly within the dwarfism community. What was meant to be a nod to diversity and inclusion quickly became a point of contention, with many feeling that the change was more performative than meaningful. Acclaimed actor Peter Dinklage, whose words carry weight in Hollywood, did not hold back in voicing his displeasure, calling the decision hypocritical and questioning how it could align with Disney's progressive messaging. His powerful remarks sent shockwaves through the industry, adding another layer of controversy to a production already drowning in public backlash. What began as an effort to modernize a beloved fairy tale seemed to have only deepened the divides between supporters and critics alike, leaving Disney to wonder if they had gone too far in trying to make Snow White more relevant. Facing an onslaught of scathing criticism from all directions, Rachel Zegler tried to do some damage control by issuing a public apology. But let's just say, it didn't exactly go as planned. While her words seemed carefully crafted, the delivery was another story. It came across as excessively somber and rehearsed, almost like she was reading from a script, which didn't sit well with many of her followers. Instead of soothing the anger, her attempt to smooth things over only seemed to make matters worse. Fans flooded social media, creating memes that mocked her robotic tone, and reaction videos flooded platforms, picking apart every second of her apology like vultures circling a carcass. What was meant to be a gesture of remorse quickly turned into another point of contention, adding fuel to the fire and ensuring that the controversy would stay front and center in the public eye for weeks to come. Far from calming the storm, Rachel's apology only made the situation worse, transforming the whole debacle into one of the most talked about train wrecks in Disney's recent history. Fans, critics, and casual viewers alike couldn't stop commenting on what had gone from bad to worse in a matter of minutes. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, sources close to the production painted a picture of chaos and turmoil. Rewrites were constant, reshoots were endless, and the budget? It was spiraling out of control. With reported costs soaring past the $200 million mark, the pressure on Disney was mounting, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. But when the first previews of Snow White leaked online, the response was nothing short of disastrous. Fans who had been cautiously optimistic suddenly turned on the project, tearing into the footage with an intensity that left even the most devoted Disney supporters questioning if this was going to be another massive failure. Critics jumped in with their 2 cents, while casual viewers didn't hold back either, all pointing to the same looming fear. Was Snow White about to fall victim to the same fate as the infamous Mulan remake? Could Disney somehow salvage this mess, or was the damage already done? In a stunning move that left fans reeling, Disney announced a shocking year-long delay for Snow White's release, citing the ongoing actors' strike as the official reason for the holdup. But behind the curtains, whispers from the set painted a much darker picture. Panic was slowly creeping in and the pressure was building. As the controversy surrounding the film only grew more intense by the day, boycott campaigns started gaining serious traction, with angry fans mobilizing in droves, rallying against what they saw as disrespectful changes to the iconic story. Meanwhile, Disney's marketing teams were working around the clock, scrambling to find any way to save face and salvage what little was left of the film's tarnished reputation. The buzz that had once surrounded Snow White as a surefire hit was now fading fast, and Disney was left to wonder, had they completely lost control of this high-profile project before it even hit theaters? What started as a promising remake now seemed like a ticking time bomb ready to explode. Now, Disney finds itself caught in a nightmare scenario, stuck between a rock and a hard place with a monumental challenge ahead. How can they possibly strike the perfect balance between modernizing their beloved classics to reflect today's world, while still holding on to the nostalgic charm that fans have cherished for decades? Is it even possible to do both without upsetting one side or the other? Or has the drama and chaos swirling around Snow White already overshadowed any hope of recapturing the magic that made the original so unforgettable? It's become clear that this remake, whether it ends up being a triumph or a colossal failure, will forever be etched in Hollywood history as one of the most unforgettable and divisive tales ever told. What was once anticipated as a fresh take on a timeless classic has now turned into a cultural flashpoint, sparking debates that go far beyond the silver screen. Thanks for sticking with us through this wild ride. Be sure to stay tuned because we're not done yet. The twists and turns of Hollywood's most controversial remake are far from over, and trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming next. We've got all the inside details, and you'll be the first to know what happens next in this never-ending drama.